Well, hello again, you wonderful people, and welcome back. Now, for this video, I'm going to answer your questions. I put a post out on Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, please do. Link should be below. I'm trying very hard to catch up with my wife. She has way more followers than me, so go and sub to me. Not sub. What is it? Follow. It's follow on Instagram, isn't it? Yes. Anyway, I put a post on there just asking for questions. I do get loads and loads of questions and they tend to just get lost in the mix. So I thought I would specifically ask for questions and then refer back to that post and answer a bunch. There's loads and loads on there, so I'm not going to get through all of them. If you enjoy this, I can make another one. Let me know below if you want more. So I'm just going to randomly pick a bunch and answer some questions. Let's see how that goes. So first, we have the Global Thrifters. Hi, Jack and Emily. Good to see you. What would you say is an unspoken rule when sourcing at a car boot? Now, I had to think about this. And the one that came to mind is, and let me know if you kind of have this in your heads as an unspoken rule. If it's in your hand, it's yours. But if you put that item down on the table, it's fair game again. And if someone else picks it up, you've lost your chance. That feels like that's an unwritten rule. I've certainly stood there at car boot sales and seen something and gone, ooh, and somebody else picks it up and I just stand there, staring them in the back of the head thinking, put it down, put it down. You don't want that. Put it down. But quite often they just get the money out and pay for it, and then you just watch somebody else buy a really nice item, which is never fun. But yeah, let me know if you agree on that one. Next up, Car Boot Chris. Hi Chris. He says, if you could only sell in one category, what would it be? Okay, so tricky. If I could get hold of exactly the stock I wanted all of the time, I think I would sell video games. Vintage video games. Just Super Nintendo games. I'd be a very happy boy. But it's not practical. You don't for me anyway, I don't find enough of just one item. I have specialised before and I only sold Lego. And that worked, but also I find it very hard not to pick up things I know I can make money on, and I enjoy the fact that I sell practically anything with a margin, because when I go out sourcing I don't know what I'm looking for, I don't know what I'm going to pick up, and it's that side of it. Being a generalist is really fun for me. And like I say, when I have specialised in just one thing, I got very bored and I found it very hard to pass by stuff I knew I could make money on. So I would end up picking it up anyway, and then I wasn't specialising in just one thing. But yeah, if none of that was an issue, I'm pretty sure it would be what I started selling on eBay many moons ago, back in the 90s, which was vintage Nintendo stuff. Next up we have Bad Biscuit, the lovely Lex, who asks, where do babies come from? I don't know, Lex. It's a mystery to me. You'll have to let me know if you ever figure it out. But yeah, I don't know. It's a very good question. Very good question. Okay, Gemini Vintage Revival, I think I've got that right, asks, does having an eBay shop boost your listings visibility? How do you organise your inventory? What is your system? Right, the first part of that, having an eBay shop, does it boost your listings visibility? I honestly don't know the answer to that. I don't know. Promoting your items increases their visibility. But I don't see, I'm just guessing really, but I don't think just having a shop means your items are pushed out to more customers. But I might be wrong. If anybody has more info on that, pop it in the comments below. But Not that I'm aware of. Just having a shop, I don't think, makes your items more prominent than people without shops. The second part, how do you organise your inventory? Have a look around. I'm not really the person to ask about being organised. I don't really lose stuff. I have listed shelves there. I have some listed stuff over there. When it comes to items that I have many of, well, I have little cabinets that you may have seen for small bits. I'm quite organised with that sort of stuff. So they're all numbered and the number goes in the SKU. Also on these shelves you may see remnants of kind of storage. There you go, look, on the edge of the shelves. When we had car parts by the 1,000, I had to be quite organised with those, to be fair. So these were the C numbers and they were all numbered, and that they were the SKU numbers. Yeah, you can see more remnants of old SKU numbers on here, look, as well. And when we used to do clothing in a big way, we had a SKU inventory system, so everything had it was all just done numerically. When I used to list a lot of trading cards, I used to have them all in envelopes, and they all had a numerical SKU, and were all filed numerically in envelopes. So yeah, but generally my general stuff is just put on the shelves, and I don't have a massive inventory. This is the other thing. If all of this was listed, I may well have to have a shelf number system. But I tend to hover around somewhere between 300 and 500 listed items, and that includes Andrea's stuff as well. So I don't have massive inventory, so it's not a big problem. Andrea is way more organised. She has individual storage boxes, all which have a certain SKU number. But yeah, anyway, hope that was helpful. But I am not the best person to ask about being organised, if I'm perfectly honest. Cool for Cash Household Sales asks, what's your number one tip for people starting out on a reselling journey? I think my number one tip, if you're just starting, is start with something you're passionate about if you can. A niche, because you will already have an interest in that subject, be it video games, women's fashion, trainers, whatever it is. So you'll have a head start with knowing what to look for, knowing how to describe it, knowing what the collectors or buyers are going to want to know in your description. And it will be fun and interesting for you to list something that you are interested in and passionate about. So that's always a good tip. The next one that I tend to say is to know your postage costs and to understand that. Get your head around how the Royal Mail works with the different sizes, how different couriers work, and know the costs before you start listing the items, because that trips up a lot of people, underquoting on postage or not realising how expensive it might be, and making mistakes with that. So yeah, hope that helped. Jew25787 asks, what keeps you motivated to list items to sell? Sometimes I have loads of things to list, but haven't always got the motivation to do it. Well, I guess for me, the motivation is, this is how I earn a living. I have to list in order to generate the sales, in order to keep money coming in. This is what we rely on to pay the bills. So that's the fundamental motivation for me. I don't find it easy, and I go through waves of productivity and procrastination. Actually, for me, the difficult part is getting going. On a working day, I take ages to get going. Once I get into my stride with listing, I can list for hours and I get loads and loads done. It's getting into it that's my problem. Getting that first listing done feels so difficult sometimes, but once I'm in it and I'm going, I enjoy it. I do quite enjoy listing once I get into the flow of it. But sometimes, yes, finding that motivation is not easy. And when you do this full time and it's day in, day out, it rapidly becomes a chore. But if I don't list, I don't sell stuff. If I don't sell stuff, I'm not earning any money and paying bills becomes a problem. So there's my fundamental motivation. 1616 asks, where do you see yourself taking things? Is your current setup how you intend to stay? Keen to know where you see yourself in 10 years. Is your intention to tick over, grow, move to a different role or career one day? Wow. Well, where do you see yourself taking things? Next year is going to be quite a big year for us because we are selling this house. We're currently working on it. Needs work doing, and then we're going to get it valued, and then we're going to get it sold, and we're going to move, which is going to be a big deal for us. Also happening next year is we are launching an app that should be coming in the early part of next year, which is a big deal for us. It's a huge question as to whether it will make any money, whether it will become part of our business. Who knows? But that would be wonderful if that could be part of our business. Keen to know where you see yourself in 10 years. That's a long way ahead. I don't tend to look that far ahead. And since we came out of retail, if you don't know, we had a gaming and media store which we ran for just under 10 years, and we worked ourselves to the bone in there. We worked ridiculously hard and set ourselves up financially. So these days we try and do as much as we need to be comfortable. And I have to keep reminding myself that I don't have to bust a gut anymore, and I'm not trying to grow this. This is big enough for us, and it brings in more than enough money for us to be comfortable, and that's where we're happy with it. So we're not trying to grow this, but we are trying to evolve into doing other things, like the app, for example. So moving to a different role or career? Not really. I mean, for the foreseeable future, this is what I will do. This is what I'm good at, and this works for us. And Andrea loves what she does, and we're just trying to add other elements into what we do. And I have thoroughly enjoyed being creative and trying to develop this app. As I said, it's a huge question mark as to whether that becomes part of the business, as in it brings in an income. But that is really exciting, so I can't wait for that. David Moore, 1947, asks, who do you desire more, Depeche Mode or Nick Berry? This Nick Berry thing is never going away, is it? I don't know what to say. I have no desire for Nick Berry, despite what you may have seen in a recent video. Hollingsdean asks, do you give in to demands, take their word for it to avoid negative feedback? That's a very good question. We take each scenario on its merits, really, but generally, if someone has a problem or they're fishing for a partial refund, as a general rule, we say, if you're not happy, send it back. And you'd be surprised how many people just go away at that point. They're like, oh, okay, I'm not going to get my money off because I've made this little complaint. We tend to be quite hard-lined with it and say, if you're not happy, send it back. We'll give you your money back. That's kind of how we deal with most things, to be honest. Daniel Bunt 750 asks, have you ever had periods of reselling where you thought, why do I even bother? Why do I even bother? I've never had that thought, really. But of course, my enthusiasm goes up and down. My energy for this goes up and down. That's only natural. And actually, something I do have to remind myself of regularly is the reasons why I do this. I have to remind myself how good I have things. I don't have somebody telling me what to do. I work the hours I want. I work as hard as I want or need to on any given day. And in the main, I enjoy what I do. So I have to remind myself on a regular basis why I do this. You know, I have control over my days. I have control over what I do when I do it. And I don't have anyone looking over my shoulder telling me what to do. But yeah, of course, enthusiasm and energy is variable. and as I touched on before, motivation can be a struggle when you do this every day. So yeah, reminding yourself of the reasons why you got into it in the first place is a positive thing to do. Simon Guest 10 says, what happens to the things that you can't sell, e.g. the broken, ripped, torn or marked? Okay, so it depends on the item really. If it's an electrical item, for example, and it's just not working, I will look into it, see if it has any value as sold as spares or repair. If not, and it has no resale value at that point, we'll recycle it or take it to the tip, whatever. Ripped, torn, marked, we do our best to repair things if it's worth the time and energy. I do like repairing things actually, and taking something that is, destined for the bin and repairing it and then reselling it is a truly satisfying thing. So where I can, I'll do that. But, I do have limits with what I can repair. I mean, we do end up with a lot of stock that we end up with in job lots, or that we pick up and then we realise it just isn't worth selling or it doesn't have a market. That sort of stuff, we tend to build that up and then we will take it all to a car boot sale and have a big blowout. You've probably seen videos on this channel where we go to a boot sale and the intention is to get rid of the stuff, and we go super low on price just to move it sometimes because it just needs moving on. It's stuff we can't sell, don't want to sell, it has issues, whatever it is. And generally when we do that, anything we have left at the end of the day, if it has any value and is resellable, we will take it all to charity, and hopefully they can get something out of it. So that's kind of our process with that. Calkin Robin asks, how easy is it to sell abroad on eBay? My wife only sends items to the UK, worried about getting the postage wrong. Thanks. Okay, well, there is a system that makes international shipping super easy, and that is the Global Shipping Program, which is a program within eBay that it's been a long time, but I think you have to opt in. Again, there's a video about it on the channel. If you search Nick Hill's Global Shipping Program, it should come up, where we spoke to people at eBay about the system and how it works. In a nutshell, it means you only have to send your international items domestically. Sorry about the beeping. And we use that a lot, and it really, really works. So eBay have like a warehouse here in the UK. So if you sell an item on the GSP, all you have to do is ship it within the UK to the Global Shipping Program warehouse. And eBay do the rest of it. eBay do the international leg of the journey, and they deal with everything from that point. So look into that, because that might be the solution you need. Right, there's a couple of questions here that are kind of the same question, so I'm going to lump them together. AJ Butler 08 asks, you always have a lot of sales, so how much influence do you think being a YouTuber has on your sales? And Hog6368, do you think having a YouTube channel contributes to more sales than not having one? The simple answer to that is yes. And if you watch my picking orders videos, you'll see that. It's interesting because I never thought YouTube would be an avenue for generating sales, and that was never the intention. But it is significant now, for sure. Could we survive without a YouTube channel, of course, and we always did do. But it is lovely that doing YouTube has benefited the business in that way. And it's fantastic that people choose to shop in our store to help support what we do. Although it's worth saying that I've been doing YouTube now for, 7 years? 6 or 7 years, not sure. And for the vast majority of that time, it didn't generate any sales. And it's only in recent times that it has done. So if you were to start a YouTube channel tomorrow and talk about your eBay, would it generate you sales? Probably not. You know, it's taken 6 years of constant work to build a channel to a level where our viewers choosing to buy from us is a significant part of our business. Carly LG76, how do you decide between eBay and Etsy when listing vintage items? Thanks. Okay, well, I still haven't started my Etsy store. I've been talking about doing it for ages, so I can't really answer that. But I can talk about what Andrea does. Andrea pretty much cross-lists everything. As long as it's eligible for Etsy, as in it is a vintage or handmade item, she will cross-list on both platforms. So I don't think Andrea decides, oh, this is an eBay item, that's an Etsy item. They get put on both platforms. When it sells on one, it's removed from the other. But I need to get a wiggle on and start selling myself on Etsy. Well, not selling myself, selling things myself. Yeah. John Shiflett asks, when you do move, how much of your new home will be devoted to your business versus personal space? Very good question. It totally depends on the house we buy, whether the business is within the house or we have outbuildings. I have no idea. Currently, we have it. I like the setup we have now. This, you may know, but this used to be a garage which is attached to the house, but we had it converted professionally to interior space. Andrea's office is an extension which is on the rear of the house. So the core of the house currently doesn't really have the business in it. Oh, I say that. The spare room currently is full of crap that we need to get rid of. Oh, and the loft has quite a lot of stock in it. But the main living part of the house doesn't have business stuff in it, generally. Mother Cutter asks, have you taken complaints or returns or refunds from customers personally, especially if they become difficult? If so, do you have a process to limit that emotional response? Thanks. That's a really good question. And I think dealing with that just comes with time. A good rule of thumb, actually, if you've got a really problematic customer and it's getting to you and they're being rude or whatever it is, sleep on it. Don't reply when you're in an emotional state and you're reacting to what they're saying or doing. Give yourself time to deal with it matter of fact and logically, and don't reply when you're in an emotional state and you are reacting. If you can, like I say, sleep on it and deal with it in the morning. And then you'll deal with it in a calm, rational state. I struggled with that in the early days of selling online. You know, dealing with problems. I would take it personally, and I would, it would fester and it would wind me up. These days, I don't really deal with it emotionally at all. I'm so used to that. But yeah, I still sometimes just leave it, process it and come back to it later so I don't react emotionally. Yeah, for sure. Billy16 asks, in your own experience, how do you keep track of what you buy to sell? Do you have a set budget per day, week, month? Is there anything you pick up consistently that doesn't sell individually but only will sell in bulk, e.g. Harry Potter book collections? Right. How do you keep track of what you buy to sell? I don't really have a system. When we buy stuff, if it's cash purchase and we don't have a receipt, I have a written record of all of that. So that's for tax purposes. We keep very accurate records for that. Once it's logged and the money's spent and it goes on the shelves, I don't really keep track of it beyond then, and there's not really any need to. The budget question is an interesting question, and we don't really have a budget. We constantly have money available because we're very opportunist. You know, if something comes up like that, the massive haul of shoes, which was a few £1,000s, that came up. We decided, yes, we can make money here, and we threw a lot of money at it. So we have to have that money available at any given time. When we go outsourcing, generally we'll take more money than we need, and we don't set a budget. You know, we've been outsourcing at boot sales and found a deal and gone to the bank and taken out loads of money there and then. You know, we don't have a fixed. We don't go out and say we're going to spend £100 today. It's never how we've operated. Is there anything you pick up consistently that doesn't sell individually? Yes, for sure. I pick up stuff knowing that I'm going to bundle it. Absolutely. I do it with Nerf guns, certain toys, certain DVDs, books, CDs. I make bundles of artists. Yeah. Yes is the quick answer to the second part of that question. Bink2470. If you didn't get into reselling or owning a shop, what would your job be instead? Well, my degree is in animation. So something within the film industry, I guess. Or something to do with art. That's my background, that's my training. But I don't know. I never worked in that field. I don't really know. It's a very good question. I was briefly a police officer. Didn't get on with it. Yeah. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up here, I think. That was fun. I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, sorry if I didn't answer your question. There were loads and loads on that post. Maybe we'll revisit this at some point. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. I will stick another video here. I think a long time ago, we may have done a Q&A video with both myself and Andrea, like years and years ago. So I'll try and find that and put it up here. So please check that out if you would like to. Thank you so much for watching. If you're not subscribed, please do, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.